Hello and welcome back. Today we are talking all about journaling. I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite topics. Back in elementary school was definitely a Dear Diary person. Then I turned into a planner person and didn't really journal my thoughts anymore. But over the last, 9 years, almost a decade, I got back into the practice of journaling and I never looked back. I started off with a little bit of bullet journaling, and then I just went back to straight journaling, like what happened in my day, adding a bit of visual journaling in there, adding images, receipts, and doing hand lettering and all of that. And it has been so much fun. And I just want to talk about how you can get started, some of the health benefits, some of my favorite tools that I use for journaling. And most importantly, I just want you to know you just need to get started. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You literally need two things: paper and a pen. That is it. That is all. Everything else is extra. But I love extra. So before I get into all the things about journaling, let's just talk about some of the wellness benefits of journaling. And so I'm just going to run through just a few health benefits just to encourage you to give this a thought, because maybe it will help with your wellness goals for this year. And so the first thing is mental health benefits. So studies have shown that it can reduce stress, improve your mood, and help manage anxiety and depression. So I think just the act of writing and getting your feelings out, especially if you do it on the day of a traumatic event or whatever it might be, it just helps you release that stress, and it really does. The next thing is cognitive benefits. It's known to enhance memory, boost problem solving skills, and increase your self awareness. And as I get older, I am all about the brain and how I can increase my cognitive skills. So I'm all for it. Emotional benefits: it encourages emotional release, improves regulation, and promotes mindfulness. And if you think about it, journaling is one of those things that helps with reflection. You can put as much or as little as you want, but even just a little bit helps a lot. So for me, some days I might write a whole page of stuff, but other days I might just have three bulleted items of what I did. Nothing more, nothing less, but it still feels good to release that. And then there are physical health benefits like supporting your immune function, improve sleep, and aids recovery from trauma. And then last but not least, professional and personal growth that can help increase productivity, sharpen communication, and foster creativity because you're getting all of that stuff down. So I could have a whole episode on just the wellness benefits of journaling from all the things that I've read, but I really just want to get into how you can start journaling. So first thing first, there's analog and digital journaling. So analog is this, right? Where you're literally pen to paper, writing something down, taking the time to sit at a table, on the couch, whatever, and just write on paper. Whereas digital journaling can be done in Notability or GoodNotes. And I even have some digital journals that I've created to help people with productivity that I sometimes use when I'm trying to stay focused on a project. And literally, I open my tablet, open GoodNotes, and then I just do my thing. But some people will use GoodNotes and Notability to literally document their day and journal and write. And so that is fine too. But I will say, when it comes to the health benefits, at least what I've read, analog seems to definitely give you more benefits than digital, but digital is still good. But digital is still good. It's still good. And so I do just recommend journaling, whatever form makes sense to you, whatever form you feel like you can stay consistent with. And then also know that I have a whole bunch of notes on journaling, even probably more than I'm going to get to in this video. You could just go to nachesnow.com/start journaling and you can get all my notes and the links to anything that I might mention in this video. So another question that I get from people is, okay, so what to write? What do I write? I don't even, they're like, I don't have anything to write about. My life is boring. And I'm like, your life is not boring. The fact that you have a life, the fact that you're here, the fact that you're doing stuff every day, even though it might not feel like it, says your life isn't boring, okay? You've got a lot going on. And so everybody journals differently. Like for me, what I do is I just literally write the activities I did for the day. And then I may expound on a particular event if I want to. So, for example, on a Saturday, I might say, made breakfast, eggs and bacon, and also made coffee, worked on my newsletter, and then I might say, and went to X museum and I had a great time. And then I might put pictures in there from that museum. And then maybe that night, if I went to the movies, I might be like, oh, went to go see Aliens for the first time in 4D and put some images in there. And it was such a great movie, yada, yada, yada. And then that's that day. And then other days, maybe it might be super simple. Went to Mama's for breakfast, went to work, came home and made Green Chef, watched a show on Netflix. Little entry. That's it. And then, so it really just depends on how you want to document your day, your time. Some people go into how they were feeling that particular day. Some people go into things that they want to accomplish. So it's whatever comes to mind, whatever feels natural to you, you should write about it. And then I mentioned like putting stuff in my journal. So I want to touch a little bit on visual journaling. So with visual journaling, you're actually drawing and doing hand lettering and taping pictures or images or tickets or whatever in your journal. And it's this compilation of your words and also other items that you have decided to put into your journal. And so what you come up with are these beautiful spreads that kind of represent like all the things that you've done. And I moved more into visual journaling and away from bullet journaling because I just found that I prefer to document my days, weeks, months visually, because when I go back, and I am a big person that loves to reflect, I will go back into my past journals and I will flip through them just to see what was I doing back in 2021? Like what were my priorities? What did January look like? What was I thinking about then? However you want to go back and see what was on your mind, visual journaling really helps bring that to life, especially with photos. So that's visual journaling. You do not have to do that. You don't have to do it, okay? Because some people are like, that is super extra. I don't have time for all that. You don't have to do it. You can literally just write. But I'm just saying, just tape a ticket or something in there every once in a while. Okay, so next question I get is, how do you create a journaling routine? I don't have time. I'm busy. I get it. Several of us are always busy all the time, and it seems like we have time for nothing. But let me tell you, my friend, there is always time. We make time for things that we consider important. And if you consider journaling important, you will make time for it. And I personally think journaling is important because it doesn't have to take a lot of time. It literally can just take 10, 15 minutes a day. And so the way I do it is usually at the end of each day, I like to just take maybe 15, 20 minutes and just journal. And I'll write stuff. If I'm coming back from vacation or if I am really busy and I don't have time to journal every day, or I need to be more thoughtful and organized on how I want to document what happened, what I will do is use the Apple journaling app that's now available. And at the end of that day, I'll actually put in a few bullet points of things that I did that day. And I might like even insert some pictures that I know I want to put in my journal later. And then when I do have the space and time, usually on the weekend, like a Saturday morning, to actually sit down and really have some fun with journaling, I'll look at my journaling app and then I will then go ahead and put everything into my journal. So you don't have to have a journaling app to do that. You could literally do it on any notes app on whatever phone you have. You could write it down on scrap pieces of paper and get to it later. But I do recommend not going off of your memory to try to go back and journal because is not going to be accurate or you're just not going to remember. I have trouble remembering yesterday. But if you have a routine, like you normally do it daily, and when you can't, you have a way of documenting what you did that day, and you make sure you make time to go back and fill in your journal, then you're fine. I always recommend try not to go more than 3 days without journaling. Life happens and sometimes it has to be longer, but I would say have a day every week, like regardless of how crazy your life gets, that you're committed to doing your journaling. Like Saturday mornings are for me. Figure out what that day is for you. So in the article I mentioned, nachesnow.com/start journaling, I'll have a list of all the journals that are highly recommended for just journaling. I already mentioned to you, I love the Leuchtturm journal. I have the A5 dotted journal. I think it's absolutely fabulous. The paper is perfect. I use the Tombow markers. They don't bleed. Some markers I use might have a bleed. And when I say that, that means like you can see the marker on the other side of the paper, like a shadow of the marker almost. So that bothers some people. If you're an artist and you want to really do some visual journaling with drawing stuff and painting, and you could do whatever, right? You might want to get, they now have a Leuchtturm journal that has a higher GSM, which is like the paper thickness. And so if you're like using kind of those Posco markers or anything like that, you might want to consider that. But people also use moleskins. There are several other ones that I will put into the article, but I highly recommend if the Leuchtturm. I've tried to use others for different things to see if maybe I would want to replace the Leuchtturm, but nothing ever compares to the Leuchtturm. I just love it. Okay, so I think that's the best notebook, but like I said, people use other things. But the point is, just use what works for you. And I love the A5 size, but that's me. Your journal can be any size you want. I also should mention too, like, I don't usually take my journals outside the house because I don't want to lose them because I'm like, oh my God, if I lost my journal, I'd be like upset. So even when I travel, another reason why I primarily do it digitally and then journal when I get back home is because I don't want to lose my journal overseas or wherever. But for you, maybe the only way you can commit to journaling is if you're on the train, ride home, or something like that. And think about the size that makes sense for you that could fit in your bag so you can journal when it makes sense. Or maybe you want to do it in a cafe or whatever. Just think about all of those different scenarios about when you'll journal, how it should travel or need to travel or not, and then go with what makes sense for you. And so the last thing that I'll mention is what are the things that you need for journaling, in particular, if you also want to do some visual journaling. These are not things you have to get. Like I stated in the beginning, pen and paper, and you're good, right? That's all you need. But if you are a little extra, as I am, here are things that are in my bag. You got glue, I got stickers galore, I've got scissors, I've got washi tape, I've got some of my favorite pens. I like to have little bags, especially so I don't bring my main journal out, but I do have other journals where I will capture like ideas. For example, I have this dreams, plans, ideas journal. I just made this little notebook that mainly stays on my desk, but I imagine I'll probably take that out sometimes. And when I do go to a cafe or whatever, I like to have some of my favorite pens. So I love a cute bag that can house all my pens. I also recommend like a portable printer. I also have a regular printer that I use for larger items, but usually the portable printer with the 2x3s is great for just adding pictures, but like I said, regular printer will do too. I also keep scrap pieces of paper, and I love like Flow magazine, for example. I usually tear stuff out of there and use like the paper for patterns. I just love it. Okay, that is enough. I could talk forever about journaling. Yeah, I just love it. It helped me stay focused in so many ways. And I do love the reflection aspect, to reflect the day I'm in, to come back to that day at a later date and see what I did and how I was feeling. And I do really believe in the power of it. And I am maybe a traditionally creative person. And so anytime I can practice my hand lettering or drawing or anything that gives me an excuse, for example, to make stickers. Like, for example, I made these moon stickers. I'm about to mail them out to my friend that has the full moon, the new moon, the quarter moon, right? And I have it in my journal and the calendar. And so these are my indicators that it's time to reflect, renew, what have you, when it comes to the moon phases. But I feel like my journal gives me a reason to stay creative, and it really does help me stay on point too. All right, folks, that is it. Are you ready to journal? Please let me know. Even though I have the Instagram, Nache Snow, I also have an Instagram where I just post journaling stuff, dreams, plans, ideas. Catch me over at either one. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I have a ton of great topics coming out when it comes to productivity, wellness, and creativity that I'm excited to share with you this year. And if you have any questions on journaling or any thoughts about this video, please leave a comment below. All right. Catch you in the next video. Take care.